SQL stands for Structured Query Language or Sequential Query Language. What is SQL? SQL is a standard language which is understand to database, used to interact with database. Why test engineers use SQL? SQL is used by test engineers to do backend validation or data validation. What is backend validation or data validation? It is the process of checking whether the front-end data is present in the backend data is called backend validation or data validation. Why backend validation is required? Okay, what if backend validation is not done? For example, you take a Instagram, your job is to test the sign up button. As a test engineer, developer gave you a job. Then you create a thousands of account by giving username, password, email ID, confirm password, date of birth and gender male, and again sign up. You create thousands of account. Okay, that data is stored in a database as a data table in the form of data table. Assume that if someone username is missing in the data table, again developer gives you a login to check login button working properly or not. You go through same 1000 accounts, you entered username, password. For one account you getting a message called account does not exist because the data is missing in the data table. That's why you encountered a problem, account does not exist. That's why you need data validation after checking any task. What is database? Database is a kind of computer. It is used to store the data in a systematic and organized way. Users of SQL, database test engineers. Database test engineers use SQL to interact with database to do backend validation. How test engineers interact with databases? The interactions with database are create or add the data, read or retrieve the data, update or modify the data, delete or remove the data. These are universally called as CRUD operations. Database developers and database administrators are also users of SQL. I already discussed in the earlier video. If you want, check out in the description. And then again we are moving into history of SQL. First, SQL was introduced by IBM in the year 1970. Raymond Boyce is known as father of SQL and E.F. Code is known as co-father of SQL. In earlier days, SQL is known as SQL. It is a full form of SQL, Structured English Query Executable Language. SQL is replaced to SQL in 1972 because it is difficult to do CRUD operations. Then it receives ANSI standards. ANSI stands for American National Standard Institute. Later, many IT companies developed SQL by taking source code. Oracle is the first company which developed SQL after IBM. Oracle develops SQL in 1979 according to their preferences. 70 to 80% of IT companies uses Oracle SQL till today. After that, Microsoft develops in 1984 according to their standards. Let us know Oracle SQL software versions as follows: 1i, 2i, 3i, 4i, 5i, 6i, 7i, 8i, 9i, 10g, 11g, 12c, 18C, 19C, 21C. Here I stands for internet, G stands for grid, means local storage, C stands for cloud. Grid means local storage. 11G version is a student version and it is open source. 21C is the advanced version of Oracle which is installed only in servers.